Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today's recipe is a giant pumpkin pie Pop-Tart inspired by Gilmore Girls. I don't know if it's the autumn-colored opening titles or the iconic Thanksgiving episodes, but I always love to rewatch this show in the fall, and since Pop-Tarts are one of the girls' favorite foods, we're gonna supersize one for a Thanksgiving table-worthy dessert. I did pick up some actual pumpkin pie Pop-Tarts to give them a try as well, and I gotta say, pretty underwhelming. They weren't bad, just kind of bland and very little pumpkin flavor. I think we can do better. To start, we're making our pastry crust with 2½ cups of flour, 1 cup of butter, 3 tablespoons sugar, 1 teaspoon salt, and 1/4 cup of ice water. Add all the dry ingredients, the flour, sugar, and salt, in the bowl of a food processor and process to combine. Then add the butter and pulse until the mixture resembles sand. You can also do this with a pastry cutter or just a regular knife and fork if you don't have a food processor. Now add a few tablespoons of the ice water and process, adding more water if needed until the dough starts to form into clumps. Now just divide the dough in half and store each half in plastic wrap or plastic storage bags like I'm doing here, forming the dough into an even disc before transferring to the fridge for at least an hour or overnight. To make our filling, we're going to use 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin, 1/3 cup of white sugar, 1/3 cup of brown sugar, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon ginger, 1/8 teaspoon of cloves, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Combine the pumpkin, sugars, and all of the spices in a bowl and mix to combine. Then add the eggs one at a time, mixing well after each addition until the mixture is homogeneous. Then just set the filling in the fridge until ready to use. Roll each of your dough discs out on a sheet of parchment paper until it's larger than a 9-inch by 13-inch rectangle, or roughly the size of a sheet cake pan. This will take a little effort and the pastry is going to be very thin. Remember, we'll have a pretty thin layer of filling as well, so it's a different ratio from a traditional pie. When your dough is the right size, move one to a cookie sheet and then just spread the pumpkin pie filling on top. Try to keep the filling a couple inches away from the edge. We don't want it spilling out while we try to assemble our Pop-Tart. Now flip the top pastry over the filling and carefully pull away the parchment. My pastry was getting a little soft at this point and probably could have benefited from a short chill in the fridge, but I forged ahead anyway and it worked out fine. Fold the pastry over to form a rectangular edge all the way around. Then seal the edge with the tines of a fork. And if the fork starts to stick to your pastry too much, just dip it in a little flour and keep going. Now we're going to park this in the fridge for 20 minutes just to get the pastry nice and chilled again. And before baking, brush your pastry with an egg wash, that's 1 egg mixed with a few tablespoons of water, and dock the top crust all over with a fork. Now bake at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 to 25 minutes or until the pastry is nice and golden brown. And allow it to cool completely before making your glaze, for which we need 2 cups of powdered sugar, 1/4 cup butter, 1/3 cup of maple syrup, pinch of salt, and 1 to 2 teaspoons of water. Put the maple syrup and the butter in a small saucepan and heat until the butter is melted. Then add that to your powdered sugar along with the salt and mix to combine. Add the water as needed in order to thin it out to a nice pourable consistency. Immediately pour your glaze on the Pop-Tart and spread to the edges. This glaze sets up very quickly, so have your sprinkles on hand or they might roll off a little bit like mine did because I had to go looking for them in a cabinet. Just a few fall-colored sprinkles and you're done. As usual, we've got to give this a taste. I took the leftovers of this Pop-Tart to a dog's birthday party because that's the kind of thing that happens in Los Angeles, and a few of the guests, the human guests that is, said they actually preferred this to traditional pumpkin pie. And I'll say that it's definitely an improvement on the store-bought Pop-Tarts. The crust is buttery and flaky, it tastes of cinnamon, and most importantly, pumpkin. I think it would be a great dessert for a more casual Thanksgiving meal. I hope you guys like this recipe. As usual, if you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.